Hello, I'm Sue Hines, and welcome back to my studio. I've got some amazing new products to show you today, so let's get started. Here's my new family of products that I'm proud to introduce to you. Here's my new curvilinear rulers that I'll proudly show you in just a moment. And for right now, I'd like to focus on my new rulers. I call them Sue's Canoes because the shape that they do is an elongated pointed oval. I'm from Minnesota. We in the Midwest, when we see an elongated pointed oval, we immediately think of a canoe. So, hence the name Sue's Canoes. Each edge of this ruler does a specific arc that I will be demonstrating throughout this video. We design these specifically for borders, so use the micro when you're doing a 1-inch border, the mini when you're doing a 2-inch, the small for a 3-inch border, medium for a 4-inch, and the large for a 5-inch. Here are my new curvilinear rulers. They come in an 8-inch and a 5-inch. This is great for ditch work. It's very easy to grab hold of and get into those really tight corners. It's a 5-inch length. It has the 45 degrees marking there for nice crisp edges. My 8-inch is great for picking up. Very easy to move around. And you can use it for marking off the what I'm going to show you next. Also has the 45-degree marks on it, but the cool thing about it, of course, is these new handles I've designed. On the 8-inch ruler, you have a 7-inch arc here with hopping foot stops. On the 5-inch, you have a 4-inch arc. So that's why I call them the curvilinears. And this just feels awesome in your hand. It is great for us people with large hands, and at the Houston show I introduced these tools, and for people that came up to my booth and had very small hands, they also said that it was very comfortable in their hand as well. A little later in this demo, when I get onto my domestic, I'll show you how well they work on the domestic machine as well. So I've prepped this little demo for us. Let's assume that this is a 2-inch border. So I've marked off this, and the only prep that you'd need to do for a 2-inch border is mark off these lines every 2 inches. This is my canoe for 2 inches. Again, this is the mini. And so this is how it all works. It's pretty straightforward, actually. Each of these sides gives you a different sized canoe. So the outer arc is my biggest canoe, so let's demonstrate with that one. So to do an outer arc, I would just lay this down on my square. So this is basically a 2-inch square here that I've created. And as soon as I lay the canoe down on my square, look what happens. I've got a 45-degree angle here. This aligns on my piecing line, basically, my ditch, and this is on the line that I have chalked. I would get my hopping foot. So once this is all aligned here, get my hopping foot that I'm going to demonstrate now with my new tool here. My hopping foot would go in here. Make sure everything is aligned. Hold on tight so that the ruler doesn't move. Hopefully this chalk is going to show up on the camera. Get a little bit more lead maybe. And there. Pretty cool, isn't it? And then to do the other side, again, you'd want your needle in the down position to stay down. Rotate the ruler to the other side. Align your 90-degree there and there. Hold on tight. Again, your hopping foot would be up here. And these stops are kind of foolproof. to most fools, that is. And there's your canoe. A few housekeeping tips for setting up your machine for free motion quilting. First and foremost, always use a slider. The operative word in free motion quilting is free. And so this allows the fabric to freely move underneath, and we want that. Also, when you use one of these, make sure you do not follow the instructions. The instructions say to rely on the pink sticky back. It works well for a while, but then it does not. So I have mine permanently adhered to my sewing table, which works great because I just slide it on and then I'm ready to free motion quilt. But if you don't have that luxury of having it always mounted on your table, then please tape it down to your sewing table with something that is removable. The tape is removable. Please do not use blue painting tape though, because that'll tend to remove and roll underneath, and then you're working against yourself. My favorite tape to use is white artist tape. It is a 3M product and you'll find it in any art supply store. Second thing is a single stitch throat plate. This is a normal stitch throat plate, and you can see this is set up for zigzag stitching here, this hole here. What this is a single stitch. It allows the needle to only go into this hole and creates less drag on your fabric. It makes the back of your stitching look amazing. So I've got that in my machine. If you have a bobbin that has a finger on it, like on Bernina's here, I'm going to thread my finger. It gives a little extra tension on my bobbin thread. Now I've loaded on my foot here. The Bernina foot, it's a number 72 ruler foot, has these adjustments on it. How I like to adjust my foot is with a flower pin underneath here. If I roll this down so that there's a little bit of pressure on that pin, a little bit of bend there, that is a very good position. These big toe catching stitches here is how I like to set up any quilt of mine for free motion quilting. This is the type of basting that I use. I dislike pins intensely, and I don't spray baste a thing. This technique I learned from Sharon Chamber, and she has a wonderful video on YouTube called Basting. And so take a look at her video for how to do this stitch. It is amazing, amazingly simple, and it'll work wonders for your next quilt. I'd like to point out how beautifully my new curvilinear rulers work on a domestic. They provide a nice, comfortable handhold, and they go beautifully underneath my domestic. Either side works beautifully. Again, I'm not having to scrunch up my hand and hold the flat ruler. My hand is in a nice, comfortable position to work beautifully at any angle. Here's a very simple border that I'm going to be doing in 2-inch increments. So again, I've chalked off my 2-inch border. Again, these rulers would be great for chalking off my 2-inch increments here. When you do a border, always start in the corner and work towards your middle. As I've done here, I've started in the corner and I've worked towards my middle. Started in the corner, worked towards my middle. I'm going to be using my inner canoe and outer. Here in the corner, I've used my inner canoe and outer canoe, and then for the sides, I'm using my inner canoe and half of my outer canoe. So I'm just going to finish now with these two squares. Always bring up your bobbin thread. For right now, I'm going to describe what's going on with this canoe. It kind of looks like it's got chicken pox. I found this wonderful product that is super grippy, and I'll have it on my website very soon. It's these sticky dots here, and what I've done is I've put these dots, I have commitment issues. I've put the sticky dots on some Invisigrip. So the Invisigrip has some grip, but I've put the dots on it so I can transfer these sticky dots from ruler to ruler without gunking up my ruler. So it works really great in combination. So that's what's happening there. So let's get started. What I also like to do is secure my thread with a pin and then tie it off later. Again, always work with a needle down. Align here and here. And my outer arc. Align here and here. Inner arc, align here and here. Another great way to travel is to put in a linear design in between the inner arc, as I've done here, and I'd love to show you how I've done this. First of all, I'm going to use the inner arc, align it along my 90-degree angle. Now my outer arc. Aligning it up above and along the edge. And now I'm stuck up here, so I'm going to use my linear design to travel. Curl, backtrack halfway along the curl, which flips you into the opposite direction. Do the curl halfway, flip, do the curl, halfway, curl, halfway. Notice I am touching the edges of the inner arc each time with my curl. Touch, curl, halfway, touch, curl, halfway, touch, curl. And when it gets really tight and I can't curl anymore, just follow the line out. And that's how I did it. I'm going to do something fun and show you another way to use canoes in this feather design. Just watch and have some fun with me. Again, anytime you see a basting design, make sure you cut it before you sew over it.